Hello, everybody. As I probably just told you, I'm going to be demoing these body paragraph uh, composition. I don't really have um, a plan here. I'm just going to kind of wing it and show you my process. Your process might be a little bit different, uh, but that's okay. This can give you some examples of um, how to think about composing body paragraphs and how to integrate sources and source information. And so this will be partly my thought process as I go through the actual writing, and it'll also show you some of the nuts and bolts and mechanics of adding and citing sources and uh, working with AI and uh, ZBib and accessing information from our sources. So, without any more chit chat, let's just get started. So I've got my essay open here. I've also got my outline handy, and I've completed the um, I've got the sources integrated into uh, my outline, so it's going to be easy to find these. So we're just going to be working with this first body paragraph here. And I've already got my sources in here. These sources are also in the references, so they're easy to find. Now that I've already found those and I know where they're at, I'll be able to get these easily and go from there. Okay, so the first thing I'm actually going to do before I begin writing this is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to make sure that I have updated all of the references, because I remember yesterday in class I had changed these references, and these are no longer the accurate references. So I'm just going to go into my ZBib here. I'm going to make sure that I've got, and so here's where I've got uh, uh, all of my um, sources. Okay, and I'm looking through here and I can see that I've got some sources here that I'm not going to need. This one, Aristotle, I'm not going to use that one, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it now. I went ahead and, as I showed you in the introduction lecture, that I had changed my hook, so I'm no longer using Aristotle, so I can get rid of that. Okay. Um, just looking down through here. Uh, This was one that I had added for another class. I'm not going to need that one. And I think this one here is also not for this paper. And this is one that I used as an example in class. So I think that these are just the only ones that I need right now. So just going through and making sure quickly that I've got the ones that I actually need. I'm going to click copy to the clipboard. I'm going to go back to my main document here. I'll highlight the entire list as I have it right now. I'm going to click Shift Paste, which on my Mac is Shift Command V, and that will add those with the formatting. Now, since I'm going to be using these links, I'm going to go ahead and just take a minute to go ahead and uh, click on the at the end of each of these as I go up here and highlight them or activate the hyperlinks. This one doesn't have one. That's okay. I don't remember if that was a book or an article or something. So you don't necessarily need to have all these highlighted when you print it or whatever. It should still show up as black and white. But if I'm going to be using these when I'm writing, it's handy to have them activated as hyperlinks. So that done, I may as well go in here to my, I think I'll just go in here to my outline. I may not need to refer to these here, but I'm just going to go ahead and put them in here now and while I have them in my clipboard. So now I know that my references in my outline and my references in my actually work, my first draft here are the same. Okay, so now let's look and see what actually are we going to be writing in this first body paragraph. So I'm going to look up here at my thesis statement. In fact, I think I'm just going to go look at it in my actual rough draft here. And I'm going to look, and it says the first point here that I'm going to be talking about is empirical research shows that democracies are positively correlated with sustainable outcomes. So I know that I'm going to be talking about the empirical research supporting my claim or whatever, my argument in this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click 2. This is going to be my second chapter or second section in my essay. I've already got number 1, introduction here. I timed this perfectly. The vegetable guy has arrived outside, if you can hear the vegetable truck. Young Pa. He's got some, I wish he would get some red onions. He never gets red onions. It's been a bad year for red onions. I can't find them anywhere. All right, so what am I talking about? Empirical evidence. So I'm just going to call it this section empirical evidence. Empirical evidence means that I'm going to have some statistics that are going to verify that this is that my argument is true. Okay. Um, Now, do I want to make that more specific? Maybe. Okay. I'm going to call this, because that's what it is, empirical evidence for sustainable outcomes. So that's what I'm going to be. Now, when I hit return here, it's going to give me a 3 because it thinks that we're doing this right now, but we're not. So I'm just going to hit return one more time. Hit delete and then return. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this back on, align this on the left margin. And I'm going to go back all the way to the left margin, and then I'm going to hit tab. By the way, while we're talking about margins, you may notice that my margins are pretty close to the edge. In order to save paper, I have my margins set up pretty narrow. The default margin is usually one inch for most documents, but I have mine set on 0.5. It doesn't matter what you do with that. I don't really care. I'm not making you count pages or words anyway. But if you want to change the margins, you can do that here in the page setup menu. Okay, so empirical evidence for sustainable outcomes. All right, so do I want to write this myself or do I want to use AI? Let me just see what I can come with on my own. So, um, I don't want to use the same word again. Studies show that sustainable outcomes Okay, so here I've said studies show that sustainable growth is most often associated with democratic systems. For the purposes of our study, we'll be using three measures of sustainability. Now, I'm going to go back to my outline and look at what I've got here. Okay, human happiness, health, and the environment. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be talking about. Okay, I might even go ahead and copy that sentence. Okay, and for the purposes of our study, we will be using three measures of sustainability to show a statistically confirmed relationship between uh, we will be using three examples to show a statistically confirmed relationship between democracy and sustainability as measured by human well-being, colon, human happiness, health, and I think I'm going to say human health, although that's kind of silly. And the reason I'm using the adjectives is because of this third one. Okay, I don't like that at all. Okay, and I think I need a sentence here to talk about why, okay, in a paper about economics, that I'm actually using these measurements. Okay, I need to connect the idea of economic sustainability with human. I'm going to put this in here to save time. All right, so this is going to take a second. All right, so while I'm doing that, I know that I'm going to have three. Let's go look and see what my index is here. Uh, all right, so I know I'm going to have two things here in my happiness. What's going on here? Anything? This thing locked up? Uh, what's the answer? I've been having some trouble with perplexity lately. It's It's really actually kind of been a little bit jankety. Maybe it's the model. Is this thing going to work? This is like watching paint dry. Oh my God, it's got so much stuff. All right, economics, okay. All right, so we got a lot of stuff here. Okay. All right. I'm just going to copy that here. The concept of sustainable well-being frames individual happiness, societal health, and ecological integrity as independent goals, guiding policies that simultaneously advance human flourishing and environmental stewardship. Studies show that sustainable growth is most often associated, okay, sustainable economic growth. Okay. How do these good. All right. All right, very good. All right, so that's exactly what I want. Okay. So, the concept of sustainable well-being frames individual happiness, societal health, and economic integrity as independent goals, guiding policies that simultaneously advance human flourishing and environmental stewardship. Economic sustainability hinges on aligning economic expansion with human well-being and ecological integrity. Human happiness and health both benefit from, if you put two dashes, it makes one big one, and in turn reinforce. So really what we want to do is separate this out. So having those long space, double, double, dash, long one, that separates that and makes it look a little bit better. Sustainable growth, while safeguarding human resources, ensures that prosperity endures for future generations. Studies show that sustainable economic growth is most often associated with democratic systems. We will be using three to show. I'm going to put this right up here. So that's really my thesis statement. Okay. We will be using three examples to show a statistically confirmed relationship between democracy and sustainability as measured by human well-being, human happiness, human health, and environmental health. Okay. So this is good now. So I've got this is the first paragraph of my empirical evidence for sustainable outcomes for this section is going to introduce these three ideas and talk about how they're connected to economics. Okay, so back down to here, human happiness for the first one of these is measured by statistically using a variety of tools, including the Human Development Index and the World Happiness Report. So I know in this paragraph, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at both of these. Now, I could have two separate sources for this, but it looks like I've got one. All right, I can copy this. Recent studies have shown that repeating this, I think I'm going to say a cornerstone. So cornerstone says this is one of the foundational measures of sustainable economic development. Okay, so recent studies have shown that democracies tend to score much higher on standardized scores of human happiness, like the UN's Human Development and blah, blah, blah. So let's go look at what this source says here. All right, so this is a journal article. It says this is an article about the foundations of human well-being. It makes two integrated contributions. First, we examine well-being around the contemporary world, finding a remarkable correlation between subjective and objective measures and a considerable variation overall well-being among countries. We then argue that certain institutional conditions have laid the basis for these differences. Integrating insights from several research strands, we outline a new explanatory blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. That considers the interaction between three institutional provisions: a well-functioning democracy, advanced state capacity, and an encompassing social protection system. Okay, so this is actually where I got that Aristotle idea from. Okay, um, so what I want to do is, I think, download this article. Okay, can I download it? Okay, I've got that. Now I'm going to go to SciSpace. Okay, and I'm going to go to this chat with PDF window. All right, so now I've got this PDF in here, and basically I can ask it. I can ask this study questions. Okay, so what do I want to know? That's a good question. What do I want to know? Human happiness is a cornerstone of sustainable economic development. Recent studies have shown that democracies tend to score much higher on standardized scores of human happiness, like UN's Human Development Index and the World Happiness Report. Okay, I might just copy this. Okay, put it in here. Okay, all right, I don't think I need high quality. Let's just make this as quick as possible. So now I'm using SciSpace to chat with the PDF. Um, you could do this using any. You could use any AI system to ask questions about a PDF. Okay. So here I can click on it. It's very complicated. Tell me like I'm a middle schooler. I don't need all the data. Just simplify this down into something I can digest. Okay. 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 I like that. So I'm just going to copy this part right here. And I'm going to mention this study specifically. A study of over 100 countries. Okay, if I hit Shift Paste, it'll keep my formatting. A study of over 100 countries found that countries, I don't need to say that word again, I just said it, so I can use a pronoun those. A study of over 100 countries found that those with strong democracies usually have better scores in uh, uh, happiness measures like the UN's Human Development Index. Now I'm gonna mention both of these things down here probably, so I don't want to mention them up here, so I'm going to get rid of that there. Okay. Now I could mention that here, but I don't think I will. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to get this citation, Croners and Hydenius, to put that in here, and that's that. Okay. Now maybe I'll go back in here and get some more information. Okay. Okay. I think I like both of these things here. All right, so this will tell why. So why do democracies make people happier? Okay, and so there's some information. The researchers found that democracies tend to improve over time. When people can participate in a government, it helps create better living conditions, which leads to happier citizens. This is because democratic governments are more likely to listen to what people need and make changes to help them. In democracies, I'll get rid of this little subtitle here. In democracies, leaders are held accountable for their actions. This means that if they don't do a good job, they can be voted out. This encourages them to focus on making life better for everyone, which can lead to higher happiness levels. So this is all copied directly from here. So I don't want to do that because that's not right to copy things directly that somebody else wrote. So I do need to paraphrase this. So I will save. I did change this one quite a bit up here, so I don't think I need to do that. But this one here, I do want to paraphrase. So I'm going to go back to SciSpace, and there's a paraphraser. And I'll put that in here. And I'm going to paraphrase that. I've got this set on formal. I'm going to keep it about the same and keep the length about the same and make it a little bit more academic. Paraphrase that. All right. So now that has made that a little bit, because remember I told it to tell me like I was in middle school so I could think about it. Thank you, Bobby, for reminding me. All right. So now let's read this again. The researchers determined, I don't need this have here. The researchers determined that democratic systems exhibit a tendency to enhance over time. I don't really like that. I don't even think this is, I don't even like this. Researchers determined that when individuals are afforded the opportunity to engage in their governance, it facilitates the establishment of improved living conditions, resulting in increased citizen satisfaction. This is a little bit too formal. I don't know. I don't think I want it to be that flowery. Let's make it fluent. Okay, and have less variation. Let's try this again. The scholars discovered that democracies generally. Okay, I think this is a little bit better. Okay. The scholars discovered that democracies generally improve. I don't like this enhance. Improve over time. And when individuals are able to engage in their governance, it contributes to the establishment of improved living conditions, which results in more content citizens. This occurs because democratic administrations are more inclined to heed the needs of the populace and implement modifications to assist them. In democracies, leaders are held responsible for their conduct. This signifies that if they fail to perform effectively, they can be removed from office. This motivates them to concentrate on improving life for all, which can result in elevated levels of happiness. Good. Okay, I like that. All right, let's move on to the next section. All right. Human health is another important measure of sustainable economic growth. Okay, so I'm repeating. Okay. Human health, comma, another important measure of sustainable economic growth, has also been linked to democratic Okay, is that true? I hope so. Okay, so what's my data point for this one? Although recently autocratic governments have improved dramatically, studies have shown that democracies. No, we're not doing that one. Oh, yeah. One way. Okay. One way to measure the health, the overall health of a population is by looking at infant mortality rates. Okay, Command V. Although recently autocratic governments have improved dramatically, Studies have shown that democracies have historically had much lower infant mortality rates. Okay, good. Like in this. Noble 19. What's noble? Going down here. Actually, I've got it hyperlinked in here, so let's go down here. Noble. What's our source here? Another journal. In recent years, many studies have focused on examining democracy and health outcomes. However, the overall drawing on a sample of infant mortality. Then I utilize structure. Okay, same thing. Now, I don't have access to this journal, so what I need to do is, okay, democracy and infant mortality. Let me look and see. So the first thing I'm going to do here, I've got too many tabs open. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and log into Google Scholar after logging into the library. So I'll log into the university library. Okay, invalid password. Please, God, help this be the right password. Yes! Okay, now go down here, Google Scholar, log into here, put that title in there. Okay, please, 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 please. Oh, nothing. I don't have it. Okay, but let's look and see. Still don't have access. Okay. So this does say, all right, then let's copy that, put it in here, not that. Let's go back here. I don't understand why I've got access to this one, but I don't have access to this one. What if I click get access? Oh, it's a pain in the booty. Okay. So since I don't have access to this one and I can't figure out what they're talking about, there's two things I can do. One, I can just try to work off this abstract. And I can put this into SciSpace and paraphrase this. And actually, I don't even like this study. Okay, so let's go back here and find out, is there a connection between infant mortality and democracy? Actually, I think since I've got this here, I might as well just put it in here. Is there a connection? Yeah, I think last time. Now I have to be careful because I know what I want this to say. Okay. Uh, so here's one from 2024. So I could go through here and I could find some that say it does, and I could find some that say it doesn't. Okay. So that's the problem. Okay. Is that there may be no evidence of it. Okay. Uh, so democracy and child mortality. Okay, so I like that. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to have to save this one because now I'm using this one, not the other one. So I need to go to my Zotero bib, find this one. So that's added. All right. I'm going to go here, go back to my text. Okay. I don't want that. Sharma et al. Found that, what did they find? Sharma, Tokas. There's three. Okay. The paper. Okay. Okay. Hit shift so you don't screw up your thingy. Now, in this case, I've actually added the name of my researchers. And so I only need to put the date here at the end, which was, I think, 2023. Okay. So if you put the name of the people in here, you don't have to put it in here. Okay. You only have to put it once. Found a negative association between democracy and infant mortality, indicating that democratically elected governments are linked to lower infant mortality as more democratic countries tend to allocate resources effectively for health improvements. Okay, good. See if we have another one. All right. All right. One thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm looking for the last 5 years. Okay. So I want to make sure I have the most recent data. So here's our number one here, Sharma. Here's a Korean paper. Does democracy matter for public health? Okay. Okay, here's another one. I like this one too. So in this case, I think I'll just go ahead and get both of these. Okay, it doesn't take too long. Just put that in here. More studies is more better. So this study by this other person. And in this case, I think what I'll do is I'll copy this study information. Well, first I put the study. Lee 2023. In fact, I think I'll put this 2023 up here too, because that tells us that year. Okay, Lee 2023 examine the effect of democracy on public health using finding chum. First, let me check. It was 2023. Just making sure. Finding that What'd you find? Okay. 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 Shift V. Finding that democratically elected governments can improve health outcomes. Don't need this part. Particularly in low-income countries, highlighting democracy's role in enhancing public health. Okay, so a lot of this was copied. So just to make sure it's not too similar to what I have here. Now I did copy that from a thingy. Okay, so let's make this formal. Keep the link the same. Variation. Okay. All right. I think that's good enough. Okay. Make sure I've got a space here. All right. So the last one is the environment. And so I would go through here. I don't think I have time to do this. We're already about an hour here on this. So I should probably shut up. So I would probably go through this next one here, environment. Put this source in here too. All right. The last thing I need to do is remember that I have made changes to my thing. I got rid of Noble. I'm not going to use that, but I did add two others. So I'll delete that one, keep in the same one, copy this to my clipboard, go down here, highlight my entire list, and update that. Okay? So that will always help to just happen to notice that. Okay? Keep these updated whenever I remember to do so. Okay, well, I hope that that's helpful. I showed you how to do a few things, found some new sources. I really do like SciSpace. I like the SciSpace search uh, for search to search for information. I think you get I think 5 standard searches a day. I think the paraphraser is also available for free, maybe not. I do have a paid version of this. Um, but if you do need to paraphrase using an AI system, you can just say paraphrase this, keep the link the same, and make it more formal. Okay, and then paste that in there. Okay, or whatever. Oh, I have my list in there, not my text. But if you want to, paraphrase something that you've copied, uh, it's always a good idea to do that. All right, so that is a little overview of this. I hope that's helpful. I hope it hasn't confused you more. So I was able to get most of this first body paragraph done, and it only took me about an hour. So, and I was talking, so I wasn't doing it very as quick as I probably would have done it. So I know this will take a little bit of time for you, but with the tools that you have, I hope that you can do something pretty good. All right. Talk later.